Wasn't that so much fun? Ritis can hardly contain her excitement as she seeks a similar reaction from Melanie. Sure, Melanie croaks, her face a sickly shade of green. The custom supplement has worn off completely. Ritis turns to you and carries on, oblivious. Wasn't that just the greatest? You, however, are a bit worn out, as your mid-voyage teasing of Melanie prompted her to wring you like a rag. Your first order of business should be a sweep of the island to ascertain the dragon's whereabouts. Tread carefully, as danger lies in the unknown. A road stretches west from the docks, suggesting the presence of a house or settlement at the other end. You take the lead, taking in the island's scenery. It all looks unsettlingly familiar to you. A white-hot streak of pain shoots through your head, feeling as though your skull will split in two. You grab your head as if holding it together and drop to your knees. The searing pain erases any hope of recalling the memory that felt primed to return to you. Beads of sweat are pouring off you now as you struggle to keep your head in one piece. Drink this, Bruno insists, offering you a bottle of headache curative. You greedily drink it down, desperate for relief. The pain begins to ebb, and you hurriedly resolve to press on. After a time, you happen upon a village. This place, you mutter unconsciously. Perhaps he is as anxious as you are about this place. You two okay? Melanie asks. You open your mouth to reply, only to notice the ambush a moment too late. Repel the monster attack. Nice work. You are accosted by a man the instant you set foot in the village. "Medicine, please," he begs. His eyes are glazed over, and his general demeanor unsettling. Should he really have medicine? You start to refuse, only to see Melanie's arm reach past you, medicine in hand. "Here you go," she says sweetly. The man runs off to who knows where, making noises that can only be described as inhuman. You and the party resolve to continue exploring the village, despite the unsettling encounter that just occurred. Something is askew in this village. It would be best to proceed with caution until you can determine what is happening. stares at you, clutching tight to countless medicine bottles in his hands. He insists that they all belong to him and refuses to share them with anyone. Another villager approaches you. Though his speech is slurred, the demand remains the same: medicine. This villager is also behaving strangely. Will you acquiesce to his request? You remove the medicine from your pack, recall for a moment how much it cost, and begin sliding it back into place. In the blink of an eye, the villager snatches up the medicine bottle and darts out of view. Something's not right in this village, Bruno mutters, clearly worried. You hear a panicked cry up the road. Stay with me. Focus on me. That can't be good. The old man sighs, saying he lost both his son and grandson to the medicine. Not wanting to be the only one left behind, he lifts the bottle in his hand to his lips and gulps it down. You arrive on the scene to find a man collapsed in the street, convulsing. Another man kneels over him in an apparent attempt to provide comfort and care. The nobleman wears impressive white armor befitting a knight. He continues talking to the fallen man as he provides emergency care. Seeing the knight's devotion makes you feel a bit like a putz for doing nothing. You ask Bruno to provide some of his custom supplement. He furrows his brow and solemnly shakes his head. The villager is now clawing at his own face with his fingernails, crying out for medicine. Blood, as black as tar, begins oozing out of his eyes, ears, and mouth. It proceeds to leak from every orifice imaginable. The convulsions subside. Within moments, the villager lies still. A horrific thought makes itself known. This is the first time you have witnessed the death of a fellow man. Even in a world where medicines and elixirs can cure most any ailment, none are safe from death's icy grip. And as well you know, that which is dead can never return. Your mind goes blank. You drop to your knees in shock. Melanie clamps her hand to her mouth, stifling a scream. Ridis shakes uncontrollably. The knight hangs his head. Bruno nervously asks, "What are you doing here?" The knight's name is Sherwin. He identifies himself as a member of the Ivory Order. His travels brought him to this village where he has been caring for the ailing residents. His face contorts in disgust. If not for these foul drugs, they would be healed. He spits and takes his leave. Bruno gazes upon the villager's corpse with a look of apparent realization. You approach Sherwin, who is caring for another villager. Is every day like this? You inquire. According to the knight, an elderly man living just outside the village is typically the one who looks after its residents. You'd be best served asking him all your questions, Sherwin says as he returns to his patient. You knock lightly on the door. An elderly man opens it, beaming at you. He announces himself as Selfor and beckons you inside. Might he be the headman you've heard known so much about? Ask me anything you like, he offers. Selfor receives your party, for whatever reason, rather graciously. He could well be a font of knowledge. What will you ask him? You make mention of the village's eccentricities. Selfor informs you that the island indeed suffers from an extreme shortage of medicine. He apologizes for the villagers' incivility. Consider it the price to pay for making the world a better place, he adds nonsensically. You ask if he is the one in charge of the village. It's true that the villagers call him their headman, but I feel compelled to correct the record and state that my official title is overseer. You ask if he has seen the dragon. Why, yes, he says. He returned to this island just the other day. Oh, but don't worry, he continues. He hasn't caused us too much trouble. Needless to say, this does not comport with your understanding of the dragon. You notice Melanie lift an eyebrow at his use of the word returned. At any rate, the dragon's presence on the island is confirmed. You quietly celebrate the first credible lead you've yet received. Your questions satisfactorily answered. You thank Selfor and turn to leave. He asks you to stop. We have yet to discuss the terms of your living here, he declares. You explain that you are only here to pursue the dragon and have no intention to stay. Selfor begs your forgiveness for thinking you were newcomers. It's perfectly understandable, though, what with the non-match among you, he says with a sneer. What does he mean by that? Melanie asks you, unable to grasp the old man's intentions. For reasons unknown, you feel the blood drain from your face. Your breathing grows ragged and you break out in a sweat. We're done here, you say defiantly, as you storm out of the house. Mar runs after you, chirping frantically. Melanie and the others give chase, but you and Mar are well out of sight by the time they make it outside. The two can't have gone far, though. It may be best to first search the village. Melanie and company find you standing in front of a house. She can't quite make it out, but it sounds as though you're saying to Mar, "This place is..." Melanie calls out to you, prompting you to blurt out, "Sorry, just had a bad stomachache back there," in your characteristically glib manner. She surveys you both and sees two haggard travelers unwilling to admit they're in need. "Are you sure you're all right?" she asks, concerned. "Fine, absolutely fine," you tell her, perhaps too eagerly. "So you were worried about me," you shoot back. "No, I wasn't," she replies, her face reddening. You spot a familiar-looking mage on the village streets. Winifred takes no notice of you and ducks into the apothecary. "So, the Ivory Order buys their medicine just like everybody else," you muse to yourself as you prick up your ears and listen carefully. Winifred and the apothecary speak in hushed tones. You'd guess it's an order for special medicine, but you can't make it out. Alas, she's just buying the usual stuff. Nothing remotely interesting about that. Though her presence suggests that other members of the order might also be in town. With no desire to run into them, you make yourself scarce before she catches sight of you. You spy the very people you were hoping to avoid, gathered near the village gate. The last thing we need is a confrontation, you mutter, spying them from the shadows. Why are we always hiding? Melanie hisses under her breath. Two members of the order are speaking with Sherwin. Given how deferential they appear to be acting toward him, you hazard a guess that he's their superior. Have you determined the dragon's location? Sherwin asks. Hedwin launches into his report. The dragon appears to be occupying the volcano. I suggest we move to capture him immediately, he counsels. Now who should appear but Winifred, fresh from her shopping excursion. Preparations for our journey into the volcano are complete, she reports, handing Sherwin a bottle of something. Splendid. Sherwin walks off and out of sight, the other three following close behind. Lucky for you, your hastily improvised hiding spot afforded you valuable information on the dragon. Yet their conversation raised as many questions as it answered. There was talk of capturing the dragon. Melanie picked up on the incongruity as well. The queen ordered the dragon killed, she reminds you. You know that the dragon is lurking in the volcano, but you haven't a clue how to get from here to there. Isn't it that mountain with all the smoke pouring out of it? Riddis asks, pointing westward. Why, yes. That sure does look rather like a volcano. The medicine bottle Sherwin received is probably related to their journey into the volcano somehow. Bruno recalls seeing a bottle much like it once before. He says it contains flash freeze, which can chill most anything. Maybe that's what Winifred bought at the apothecary, Bruno continues. You narrow your eyes. You three have no right being this helpful, you think. Mar pinches your cheeks without warning. You yelp in pain, which at the very least crosses dreaming off the list of explanations. Returning to the matter at hand, it's clear what must be done. You'll have to get your hands on some flash freeze if you hope to enter the volcano. Happen to have any flash freeze for sale? You cheerily ask the apothecary. She flashes a wry smile. How do you steady the roiling magma's flow? She asks cryptically. The meaning behind the question is utterly lost on you. She needs a password, Melanie mutters over your shoulder. The answer, then, would be the password. So, how do you steady the roiling magma's flow? The old woman rolls her eyes, suddenly looking defeated. How did you know the answer? Did someone tell you? She mutters bitterly. Will that be all? The proprietress asks. You've managed to crack the code, and a bottle of flash freeze is yours. At last, you are ready to enter the volcano. You've got a long road ahead of you, so you had best be prepared. You journey onward, only to see a suspicious-looking elder appear before you, a bottle of medicine dangling from his waist. He proclaims himself a man of medicine who has discovered a revolutionary new curative. He would have one of your party drink it as a test. There's no harm in trying it, he boldly claims. Well, Riddis remarks that she's been feeling thirsty. She snaps up the bottle and happily gulps down its contents. Riddis's nose begins to twitch. She begins furiously sniffing the air around her. Has the brew heightened her sense of smell? Is it turning her into a dog? Both? She trots off, only to return sometime later from a great distance away with something in her hands. She tosses it toward you. Your eyes gradually focus on the bomb? It's a bomb! Has she gone mad? Despite your abject panic, you somehow manage to softly pluck the bomb out of the air and prevent it from obliterating the party. The heat of the volcano engulfs you the moment you set foot inside. Of course, the dragon is hiding out here. Guess it's as good a place as any to corner him, you reason with yourself, trying to keep your spirits up. Crossing this river of lava won't be easy. Here's how you cross a lava river. Bam! You open the bottle of flash freeze and pour some into the raging river of lava. The lava instantly hardens, forming a bridge of rock. You can't help but chant, "It's hot, so hot," every couple of steps, as if conjuring a spell. You're just wasting energy, Melanie chides. Perhaps you could stand to learn a thing or two from her rational approach. Bruno seizes on the moment. Yeah, this isn't even worth whining over, he says, flexing at you. It is way too hot for this, Melanie screams, forgetting her own advice. A wave of lava rushes past you, leaving a pile of boulders in its wake. You take a fortunate but ungainly fall backwards, but sadly you must find another route now. You've spent so long in here, even I'm starting to sweat. A clump of familiar white outfits comes into view. You've caught up with the Ivory Order at last. We shall be the ones to fell the dragon, you proclaim loudly to no one, apparently, for the Order pays you no mind. At your persistence, Winifred requests, please do not interfere with the dragon's capture, clearly annoyed. As you all suspected, they have no intention of following the Queen's orders to slay the dragon. What will you do with him once he is yours? Melanie asks forcefully. But her answer shall have to wait. The lava bubbles and swirls as monsters leap out onto the rock before you. It would seem the only way out is through. In a flash, Sherwin's blade cleaves one in two. Clearly, he has earned his rank within the Order. Keep moving, he bellows, leading his companions deeper into the volcano. The remaining monster turns toward you, eager to avenge its fallen friend. There shall be no avoiding this battle. You escape with your lives, but the Ivory Order has put some distance between you. All your efforts will be for naught if they reach the dragon before you do. You hurry the party onward. A deafening roar greets you as you set foot on the summit. The dragon must be close. You reach the caldera only to find the dragon and the Ivory Order members locked in battle. Their teamwork is impeccable. With each strike, they drive the dragon further back. Vince is doing everything he can to protect the dragon, but nothing can slow Sherwin and company's advance. The Ivory Order approaches the dragon, quite sure of their victory. They shall have their quarry at this rate. You can see the writing on the wall. You shrink away from the fight. Go on, get out there, Melanie yells, kicking you square in the run. We'll be the ones to collect the bounty on the dragon's head, you yell. What vulgar ambition, Hedwyn says with a sneer. Hedwyn and Winifred each keep one eye on you as they begin incanting a spell to hold the dragon in place. Without warning, the dragon slams his tail against the ground. Cracks in the earth form beneath his feet. The rock beneath the Ivory Order gives way, sending them tumbling down below. You surmise the fall wasn't far enough to kill them, but they won't make it back here anytime soon. The dragon spreads his wings and flies towards the caldera. This may be your only chance to slay him without the Ivory Order interfering. The dragon sits perched on the edge of the caldera. You eye him warily, shouting, "There's nowhere left to run." He lets loose an intimidating roar, but you and your party stand tall, unbowed. Victory is within reach. You have never felt more ready to slay a creature in your life. You draw your sword and charge, blade raised and ready to strike. In an instant, his bodyguard appears before you. You can see the bloodlust inside him as he stares you all down. He looks upon you and sees only greed. "Fools," he shouts. "You shall not be stopped. You have your reasons for wanting the dragon dead, and they are enough. They are everything. This conflict is inevitable. You heave your sword toward the enemy, come what may." You can do this. Nice. Vince falls, his face covered in blood. "Why would you give your life to protect the dragon?" Melanie asks sharply. Asks the one who has forsaken her own. "What would you know of loyalty?" Vince roars, consumed with rage. He begins chanting, no doubt preparing to cast a spell. "No, that spell is forbidden," Melanie shrieks. It's too late. A stupendously powerful magic swirls out of the ether, enveloping them both. Vince turns to face you once more, his aura unlike anything you've felt before. You tighten your grip on your sword. There's no turning back now. Vince adopts a sweeping stance between you and the dragon. You'll have to deal with him first if you hope to attack your quarry. The battle has been won. Tears stream down Vince's face. You watch him out of the corner of your eye as you turn your attention toward the dragon. Vince, undeterred by the wounds that now cover his body, rises to his feet and moves to protect the dragon one last time. Enough! The dragon speaks. He declares that he wishes to see further harm befall none. Then you ought not to have brought harm upon us, you shout, listing off the horrors you have heard on your journey. Vince, filled with righteous indignation, denounces each and every one as a lie. The dragon admits that your prowess in battle and willingness to pursue him the world over have earned you the right to hear the truth about this world. The dragon claims he shares a special bond with the medicine that helps people the world over. Everyone in the world drinks this medicine as though it were water. Taking this medicine heals all wounds and cures all ills. It is a crutch that humanity can no longer live without. The primary ingredient in this medicine is dragon tear. All those who succeeded in capturing the dragon in the past forced him to live a nightmarish existence on this island. They would stab him with several hundred spears. They would slice his scales off with their swords. Every day a fresh horror would visit him in the heart of the island, and every day he would cry out in pain. They then gathered up the dragon tear he shed and used it to produce their medicine. You cast your mind back over your travels, over all the people who sought the medicine and were saved by it. The mere thought that so much good was born of the dragon's torture makes your mind reel. You feel unmoored. No one moves, or so much as makes a sound. His words weigh on each and every one of you. The dragon claims he has grown weary of suffering for the benefit of humankind. And so, he intones, I beseech you, strike me down. You hear only hurt and fatigue in his voice. Comply, and you will fulfill the order that was given you. The riches you have coveted for so long shall be yours. But know that if you do, the medicine upon which people have come to rely shall cease to exist, threatening the very foundation upon which humanity was built. No matter the consequences, you resolve to complete your quest and slay the dragon. You adjust your grip and move to strike the dragon down once more. It looks like it won't put up a fight. Out of nowhere, a burst of magic crashes over the entire party, rendering you unable to move. The Ivory Order have found their way back to the caldera and stand before the dragon once more. Sherwin stares the dragon down, fire in his eyes. At last, the world is safe, he says. Seize him at once. Edwin urges. With a nod, Sherwin approaches the dragon. In one motion, Sherwin unsheathes his sword and cleaves the dragon in two. The dragon's lifeless corpse lurches backward before dropping over the edge into the caldera. What have you done? The others ask quietly, unable to comprehend Sherwin's actions. The earth shakes. The dragon's body seems to have energized the lava enough to spur an eruption. All that remains is to destroy that place, he hisses, and storms off with purpose. The remaining members of the Ivory Order are still in shock, but Edwin orders them out, and they flee out of sight. The volcano is about to erupt and will surely take you with it. Melanie suggests the party take Vince as well, but he insists he remain here. He speaks his final request, his voice already fading. Dragon Tear is more powerful than you can imagine, he says, his voice weak and raspy. It could end this world. You mustn't let them use it. Stop them at all costs. Use the forbidden magic if you have to, Melanie. Vince's final pronouncement echoing in your head, you race to catch up to the Ivory Order. The eruption is imminent. The earlier tremors collapsed the passage you took to reach the caldera. Follow the other passage out and escape before it's too late. Take your time. There's no need to rush yet. Lava oozes from the rock beneath. You miss stepping on it through sheer dumb luck. Best proceed with caution. You might want to pick up the pace about now. You're nearly out. The relief of knowing you may yet outrun the encroaching lava is immense. And short-lived, as monsters burst forth from the lava, blocking your escape. Let's do this. race out of the volcano, the monsters scarcely having hit the ground behind them.